Okay. Good evening, everyone. We will call the Environmental Services Utility Board meeting to order for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. At this time, is there any public comments? Seeing or hearing no public comments, we'll move on to item 2, roll call.
Mayor Curtis.
Present.
Alderwoman Lewis.
Here.
Alderman Prude. Alderman Prude. Alderman O'Brien.
Here.
Alderman Ozinga. Alderwoman Swanson.
Here.
Alderwoman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Jones.
Present.
Clerk Gall.
Here.
7 present, 2 absent.
We do have a quorum. Item 3 is the approval of minutes. We do not have them for January 21st, 2025. We'll do those at a later date. So we are now going to move on to item 4, and that is the approval of bills. Before you have the bills for February 18th. That total in the amount of $715,414.29. We also had the bills from our last council meeting for February 3rd, which totaled $352,636.78 for a total of $1,068,051.07. Is there any questions or comments about the bills, or is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the total amount of $1,068,051.07.
We have a
I'll
motion
put it up
from
with
Alderwoman Swanson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Alderman Jones. Any questions or comments regarding the bills? Seeing none, roll call.
Alderwoman Lewis.
Aye.
Alderman O'Brien.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Clerk Gall.
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 nay.
Okay, bills are approved. Okay, we'll now move into reports, and Mr. Hassick, would you like to give us an update?
So unfortunately, we didn't have a paper report to give you or something to send out, but we have been out snow plowing and salting. We believe that our crews have been doing an outstanding job. We've been doing a lot of swap shifts, which means we have 24 hours of coverage anytime an event happens, and it's been working out pretty well. We did have the mayor ride with us recently, and I'm sure he had a great time, but that invitation is extended to all of you. I know Alderman Ozinga did ride with us the year before. I think it would be a unique opportunity for you guys to take advantage of that and really kind of get you into your neighborhoods and see some of the issues that we come along with parked cars and other issues that we have as we're going up and down the streets. So residential seemed to be our biggest issue, obviously, you know, with the cars parked on the sides of the street. We know that, you know, within a household you have 2, 3, 4 kids, they each have a car. You know, it's one of those things that we try to abide by the snow ordinance as best as we can, or at least people hopefully try, but is not always successful, and there's just cars lined up and down the street. But we do come back the next day to hit any areas where cars did move to assist with that ice buildup, because a lot of the problems that we run into now with the freezing is if we have a snow event and then significantly low temperatures the next day, creates ice, and you know, people keep parking and running over it and just becomes compacted, and then it's really hard to get up off the street until the temperatures really warm up. So other than that, we've been trying to keep everybody warm, and we're moving leaves around, and we're sending crews out to pick up the streets, you know, loose trash in the streets. We've been sending people into neighborhoods and stuff like that just to kind of assist with that while the sweepers aren't out. So that's pretty much all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Hassick? I will say, in riding along, I think we have some tough decisions we'll have to make as a council, or maybe I have to make as a mayor. There are some areas where they literally, I'll use Evergreen that is a snow route. So anytime there is 2 inches or more, that's a one-way street heading south. Not Evergreen, I'm sorry, Yeah, it is evergreen.
Evergreen.
And it's 2 inch, and there was a section when I was riding that there literally is, and this was, if you think about the first snowfall that was on the ground after several weeks, so it wasn't like piled up on the curbs. There was probably 2 to 3 inches of clearance on each side of that plow blade between the cars, and I took video and pictures of it. And basically, they were moving about 4 to 5 miles per hour to try and get through the street. It's a snow route, which means anytime over 2 inches, there's not supposed to be any cars on the road. It's not even the alternate of the other ones. So it's one of those things I think we have to take a hard look at is, if we're going to have the ordinance, do we enforce it? And that's going to cause a lot of people to be very upset. But if you look at the city of Chicago, they tow beginning November 1st. Even if it doesn't snow, when they're in, they haul away 200 cars that night. And it just happens. And just as they're trying to clean curb to curb, I get it with the cars where it's not a snow route. You're supposed to move them on the other day so they can clean up. But those snow routes, I was amazed at how many cars were still on the street on the snow routes. And it just, then people get upset because their car gets buried in, or they get upset because the street isn't cleared. So I'm hoping that we're done with the snow for the year, but I think it's something we really got to talk about here at council. And probably it's going to fall on me, but if we do enforce that ordinance and say we're going to tow, I think it's going to take 50 to 100 cars getting towed, and everybody's going to say, they're going to be upset, they're going to be angry, we're going to catch a lot of grief, but when it's all said and done, we really need to do it for their safety. There was another road, he took me down, it was down kind of in my neighborhood, Duane Boulevard, where there's a curb there. A lot of those curbs are busted up, but where the curb is there, he talked about, it was literally another 2 inches between the car and the curb, and he says if that plow hits, Frank, you probably know this better than anything, he said if that plow hits the curb just perfect, it'll flip that plow and into the car when you're that close to it, and then we damage a car. And so the same thing, we were kind of going through there. We have a lot of, I think they all did a great job, but we have a lot of newer drivers. It takes some time. I was riding along with probably one of the more experienced drivers, but he was explaining everything to me as they go through. So it just makes their job difficult. As Mr. Hassick mentioned, they work 12-hour shifts. I kind of asked, I said, how does it affect you when it's 5 in the morning and, you know, you've got one more hour, you've been on for 11 hours? And they said, it's not easy. You're trying, that's why the window's down, and you're trying to keep aware of all your surroundings and everything. So to me, it's either we get rid of the ordinance or we enforce the ordinance. And I would highly encourage, as Mr. Hassick offered, even if you just go for 1 hour, I think they would show you a lot about what they deal with in plowing the snow. And that wasn't even I don't want to say a difficult night, but that was, 3 inches of snow versus one of those ones where we get 10 to 12 inches or so. And there's a lot of movement. So I just wanted to make those comments. Thank you for allowing me to partake. Those men and women, it's long hours for them that night, obviously, and that was a long, probably 2-day stretch there, but, and then you were back at it on Saturday, but kudos to what you guys did.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Johnson.
Can I add to that, Mayor? I think you guys do a great job. But in regards to Duane Boulevard, I drove by a few times after the plows went through, just to check it out, to see what's going on, and there was some, and it's no fault of your guys' by any means, but to get around the cars on Duane, I mean, there was probably 3 or 4 feet that they had to go into the islands of the boulevard. So, yeah, I think we need to do, I'm, in favor of enforcing the snow routes and things like that as well, so.
I hope it's not an issue we deal with till next year. I'm hoping for no more snow.
That's what I'm wondering, where did...
Alderman Jones.
Yes, sir, thank you, Mayor. A great job, Mr. Hassick, but I would just be wondering, like, where would they go? I have one I know I'm the Fairmont Road, and we, for the most part, a lot of people don't park on the other side, but I believe I know where you're talking about, going down to Evergreen, that would be tight, but I'm wondering, where do they go? Because, and I think they do a job, and, I'm bragging to them in Hopkins and stuff, and they be struggling. I said, man, our guys get in the alleys. They like, what? I said, oh, yeah, they be in the alleys before the snow hits. So, because you do have to get the guys, and I'm appreciative of that, too, because some people live in the alleys, and a lot of times, in municipalities, they don't even get to the alleys. So that's a big deal that I look out and I see it coming through the alleys. I'm like, now that's a big deal because a lot of people don't come through the alleys because it's just, everything else is so messed up, but y'all go over and beyond with maybe that 12-hour rotation, and that's a good thing. But for those that, in that area, I think I know what you're talking about, where do they go? I mean, that's what we're going to
The
have.
answer to the question is, I know, I kind of see it down in my house because I drive by down there. You basically have to move around the corner of the block. So I know there's some people that are on Chicago Avenue, which is a snow route, and I know that they'll take their cars and they'll put them up. Eagle's not a snow route, is that correct, or it is?
No, it is.
It is, okay, maybe they take it up a different, but they move them around. So unfortunately, you got to move it a half a block or a block away until they plow, and then once they're plowed through, you can put your cars back. But it's just, the same thing in Chicago, what do you do? I'm not comparing us to Chicago,
No, I
but
get-
what do? You can't park there, so.
The big-
Otherwise, we have to talk as a council, and let's just get rid of the ordinance. If we're not going to enforce it, then you just got to get rid of it, because it doesn't make any sense to have it on the books and not enforce it.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems that we have is if we have multiple back-to-back snowstorms of significant inches, those cars, when they move and come back, they start inching more and more towards the middle of the street. Now, we haven't had that in the last couple of years because we've been fortunate with not a whole lot of snowstorms, but we have had it in years past where we just have to completely avoid a block, and they get, frustrated because we're not able to go down it, and, because the cars are getting closer into the road, so. That's another thing, making them not passable.
Any questions for Mr. Hasek? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the utility sewer services report. And Superintendent Newton?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things I want to draw your attention to. One is I'm very happy to say that Gas Voda has finally been down to start restoration work at Gar Creek. One of the things that they're looking at doing is moving that panel up to the top, which, if you recall, that was one of the big pieces of equipment that was destroyed when that lift station flooded because the panel was down in the dry well. Most of the lift stations, they have the panel that's up top to avoid a situation like that. So yeah, very, very happy to say that Gar Creek is underway to getting fixed. The other is we have completed the installation of some PLCs at the lift stations. If you recall, we've talked about some of the alarms that we're getting because of the PLCs being outdated, and also too, the antennas that are on the lift stations. That's a much cheaper piece of equipment to replace, but the antennas are old and they're actually out of that range, so they're dropping signal a lot. So we're beginning a comprehensive process to update all of those antennas and PLCs at the lift stations. It is a kind of a labor-intensive process, but we've completed PLC replacements at KCC, K, Prairie Walk, and 500. Next on the list are Mantino, Gar Creek, and Hillcrest. And then after that, we only have 6 left. So we're making progress. We'll be about halfway done here shortly. And then after that, I'm hoping that we'll get rid of a lot of that overtime for those phantom false alarm calls. Other than that, it's been pretty routine, all things considered.
Any questions for Superintendent? I will add, his team does a lot of the snow plowing too. A lot of times they grab the parking lots and do some different things, and they're out there salting all the sidewalks and different things at the facilities. So their team's been as busy with the snow here lately as also. And then still trying to get down the massive amounts of Christmas decorations that we decided to put up this year, so.
Right, yeah, I think we finally, we got that done, so appreciate your patience on that, but,
I thought we'd just put some hearts on them and make them Valentine's Day, so.
that's right, yes, I wanted to make those independence trees, and
Right?
not a lot of takers on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move into the lab services report. Mr. McGinnis?
Thank you, Mayor. Not too much to update this month. January was pretty routine for us. Just a couple things. We've got some additional sampling we're doing to help out Karma. They've got an issue they're dealing with right now that's requiring some additional sampling, and so we're just helping them out with that. And then secondly, I wanted to make you aware, we've started to transition and onboard to a different software that we're using for the lab. So this is going to be a long process, many months of transferring data and training and those sorts of activities. But we're very excited about the software. If you have any questions about it, program features, that sort of thing, we're happy to, I can walk you through that. But it'll just give us some more functionality, and it's a cloud-based software that'll help us do our jobs better. So we're excited about that.
Any questions for lab services? They're one of those departments that we don't give a whole lot of attention to, but without them, things go to chaos really quickly. So thank you for all you do. So. Okay. We do not have a technical services report tonight. Just as a quick update, if you can keep Ms. Hall in your prayers. She, I guess maybe I'm sharing more than I should share, but it's okay. She took a slip and a fall and severely injured her bones, cracked her bone in 3 different places above her ankles, so she's recovering from that. So if we can give her a little grace with that department, and Zach and their team are covering right now to help out there, so. Wow. Okay, we'll move on to the financials, and you have before you, and I'm going to turn this over to Comptroller Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. I did prepare the report for this evening, but I am passing the baton to Rhonda, and she will be presenting the report.
Okay.
Here I am. All right. Well, as of January 25, we are 9 months into the fiscal year, which means we're about 75% of the way through. We continue to be in a positive position. The actual year-to-date expenses are running at 68.8% of the budget, which equates to about 1.4 mil, or 6.6 below the projected year-to-date. I'd like to point out two of the expense line items that are related to wages and benefits for the period, because they do appear a bit higher than a regular month, and this is due to January being another one of those 3 pay period months. It's identified on page 2, the graph in the middle of the page, entitled ESU Wages and Benefits. In the key of this graph, you can see it identifies August and January for this year, as well as going back to 2020 for comparative purposes. So you can see how that looks. As to the revenues for year-to-date, we're running at 77.5%, which is a little over $598,000, or 2.62% above the projected. This increase is in spite of a couple of our larger customers' anticipated slowdown that occurred for industrial sewer and flow, which is expected to pick back up. Residential and sewer collections were up, accounting for the overall keeping up the revenues in line with projections. And all of this activity can be seen on your page 3 of your packets. That's all I got.
Any questions regarding any of the financials? I will say exactly what was kind of talked about there is we're actually pretty happy where we're at with financials. As I said, 2 of our largest users are down significantly in some of their flow charges and other things, and we knew that was forthcoming. They had let Ryan and Zach and the team know that there'd be some downtime during the holidays, and they would have some slow periods here. We expect those to come back and ramp back up, but with even those decreases, revenue is still staying ahead of projected budget, and expenses are in control. So overall, ESU is in a solid position. Okay. Seeing no questions, we'll move on to item 5, old business, hydro plant update. Zach, whether you want to do it from there or up there, it's up to you, so. Sure, okay. We can roll it.
Yeah, so a lot going on with the hydro. Work is picking back up with the FERC relicensing. actually working on the draft license application right now, and I'm working with Stantec to get them some information that we can put into that draft report. Also, I'm continuing working on the river pump. I think I'm making some good progress. I am currently reaching back out to IMEG for one piece of the system. I think we're good with the pump in place in the river. There's a second piece of that system that's in the bay of Unit 2, and it's that part that I'm currently in talks with IMEG to see if we can't maybe use a different kind of pump and filtration system in that to make it a little bit more user-friendly. Also, too, working on adding a backup system to the air compressor that we currently have that controls the bladder. The idea is that we would have, a backup air compressor if something should happen to the first one. We will have to take that offline for a bit when we install that backup one, so there'll probably be a drop in the water level for a little bit while we get that worked on, and then as we slowly bring that back up. So when the time nears, I'll definitely communicate that with everyone so that everyone knows what's going on. Other than that, it's just normal, reports. We had a year-end report that there's a couple of them, the EIA 923 and the EIA 860. Those are annual reports that we give to FERC for the status of the hydro and the power generation. So other than that, that's all I got.
Any questions regarding the hydro plant? There's still a lot of work that's ongoing there, but it is progressing. We're seeing that, and the goal is, again, the goal is to have 2 of those turbines up, hopefully this summer. And once those get installed and in place, we hope that then the third one would be taken out, and we'd start working off the first 2 that are in place, so. We did have a meeting, myself, Zach, actually Alderman Marzak, we did meet with Senator Joyce about some initiatives that he had run through a bill of potential options of being able to potentially maybe generate some additional revenue from the hydro plant above and beyond with the wastewater facility. But we're looking into that, and it's going to take a lot of questions and answers and paperwork, but we are going to go down that path here and see if there's some options there that could help us out there. Okay. Seeing nothing else on the hydro plant, we have no unfinished business. We'll move on to item 8, and that is new business. We want to give you an update. There's no report tonight, but we did meet with Robinson Engineering and Zach and his team. As you know, they have completed, if you look in your map here, there's this basin I&I. But then if you look at this map that you have in your packet here, that's the second piece. You'll see the most red, I'll call it the darkest red color there, that is Basin 9. That's the work that we have been doing. So the manhole inspections have been completed, and that's the third page you see here. These are all the manholes that have the little red dots. These are the manholes that need repairs or showing that there is infiltration of groundwater entering into the sanitary sewer system. So the next stop is, the next part they're doing now is Zach and his team are video cameraing the actual sewer lines themselves, and they'll continue that through this year and then have a report back in the fall of what we need to do. We expect by the next, I believe, next ESU meeting, we're hoping to have a report back of the total costs to do these manhole repairs. And if you remember last time when we did the first one, which was the Hillcrest and Riverview area, there was about a total of $5 million in repairs of manholes and sewer lining. We did about 1.2 to 1.3 million of repairs, which solved a lot of the major problems. I'll call it where you get the major infiltration. It didn't fix everything 100%, but we took the worst of the worst. They're going to come back and deliver to us what they believe is somewhere in the range of probably a couple different options at a range of $400,000 to $600,000 worth of repairs for these manholes. And then we will bring that to this committee for review, and we expect that we'll be going out for, are we going out for bid and bringing the bid back next meeting, or are we doing it after? I don't remember.
No, I think that'll be in April.
April, okay. So we will bring this back to you. We will go out for bids to do the manhole repairs for this summer, and then we would hope at the April ESU and city council meeting, we'd accept that low bid and get that work done this year. Then the goal would be in 2026 to have the sewer lining repairs go out for bid and have that work done in 2026. That would spread that cost. We're anticipating we would probably do somewhere between 1.2 to 1.3 million again in Basin 9. And then next year, we would, if you look at your map there, ideally, we would probably go to what we call Basin 14. And that's basically, I would call that the Marycrest, Hobby Avenue, kind of over to Harrison, Indiana Avenue area there. That, as you see, is probably the next darkest red color, which means we have a lot of infiltration in that area. And we would target starting doing the manhole inspections in, hopefully in '26, with just keeping it going every couple of years, trying to do each section. So that kind of gives you an update if there's any questions you have, but we'll have a report back to you 30 days from now. We'll go out for bid and hopefully have that approved in April, and then get those manhole covers done. The only thing that we have changed a little bit is some of these manholes you will see run near or are on Harrison and Indiana Avenue or Fair Street, and we will do the work that's within those manholes down low, but the upper work we're not going to do much to, because that road is going to hopefully be tore up and redone, and we'll just let that be part of the process when the road's redone, so.
Excuse me, Mayor, well, are we talking, so we saying, I'm just shooting rough numbers, I know I'm not locking in, but about 1.5 to 2 million roughly in 26, 27, give or take?
I like how you upped that number, that was a good try. I like that. No, about 1.1 to 1.2 million.
1.1, I saw the one, I got the 1.2
Yeah.
down. But,
We're thinking somewhere in that 1.1, 1.2 range for both sanitary sewer and manhole covers over the next 2 years in Basin 9. And that's about what we spent in Hillcrest and Lower River.
Right.
That was the worst of the city, now we're going to the second worst, and so.
And I want to just say that publicly, I really appreciate that maybe I'll speak on it in the Alderman comments, because, a lot of people don't understand what we do with the money, and I truly thank God for the council who have allowed it to be done, because, a lot of people think it's just the mayor, but the council collectively, through approval, have really done a good job. And, when we saw them videos that night, I never did believe nothing like that was going on through, underground. We don't see it. But it was money well spent. But I know it don't look, it's not sexy, as Alderwoman Lewis like to say. It's not something sexy that nobody can see, it's not, but it's really, really, it was necessary. And I'm looking at all these dots, and it's a lot, I'm not trying to throw too much on you, because I know we're underground and, dealing with manholes, but we've got streets and coming right behind it. So I guess there's a lot that we got to do, and as we were looking at this, so we're excited what we got to do to get it done, but it's a lot of work to do, and I guess I like them numbers, and I guess we're going to have to keep on trying to generate the revenue to keep it going. Because I don't believe we have no more ARPA money coming in.
Yeah, with the first route we did with ARPA money, this will be done with, it'll have to be done with capital money, so. Superintendent, anything you want to add to that report, or?
Just a few numbers that, if anyone is interested, there were 251 manholes that were inspected in Basin 9, and 159 manholes were found to have defects, for a total number of 282 defects.
And I think you said we'll spec this time with concrete versus asphalt, correct?
Yeah, last time, the top work we had done with asphalt around the manholes, and that caused some issues with settling around the rims. So this time, we're going to put in the specs that we want concrete, so we can avoid those problems.
And that's actually really important for, obviously, cars and travel, but DPW, just even settling that asphalt around a manhole, even a quarter of an inch can get their attention with the plows, so we'll do it with concrete, and that'll prevent the settling.
Mayor,
Alderman O'Brien.
thank you. Zach, you mentioned those manholes that had defects. Are those largely due to age, just being old, or what's the cause of the defects typically?
Yeah, some could be age, some could be just how they were constructed. I mean, the best practices at the time weren't the same, so, like, they might not have poured bottoms in them then versus now, that would be a common, practice. So it's just, it's kind of a range.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding the I&I work that we're doing in Basin 9? Okay, we'll report back to you next month with some firm numbers, and we'll go from there, so. The next is, we're looking for recommendation. You have a bid tabulation sheet in front of you for recommendation of administrative HVAC work that'll be to City Council tonight. I'll let Zach talk to this. As you before you, there was some concern. This was a plan to do some work, not only with the heat and the air. This is really for the air conditioning, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, here, but this is for the new condenser units for the air conditioning. It's also the piece on the second floor, that the wall mount
Correct.
heater
For
and
the-
air conditioning.
For the system, it's right by the elevator. You get out of the elevator, it's up top there. It's for that piece of equipment and for the controls for the Pelican system to create a system much like we have here at the admin.
So basically, it'll put thermostats in each of the rooms, different sections of the building. It's really, that's kind of a big deal. As you see, even in here, sometimes we'd be hot and cold in here. Now this can be adjusted here. If a section goes out in one section of this building, it doesn't mean the whole building goes down. We're having some issues at the administration building of one person, what they think is a cold day or a hot day, and another person's got the opposite temperature going on at the other end of the building. So this will allow everybody, somebody might be able to have it at 73 degrees while the other person wants it at 71 degrees, and to have that. And then there was a alternate that we had bid on this, and this was, Zach, if you want to talk about a dehumidifier for the lower level.
Great, so in the basement, it's an old building, a lot of humidity in the basement, so this is for a dehumidifier system in that basement. If you go down there, you see that, there's some paint that's bubbling, it's just from the humidity. We do try to run dehumidifiers in there, but they're constantly full. This is a more, commercial kind of system that'll better keep that area, keep the humidity out of that area, so we won't have those issues.
So we had a bid opening last week. We had three, we were suspecting that we would have three bids for the project. The names are on there. We actually had one bid, so we were a little nervous when we opened up the first bid, thinking it would be. But the base bid came in at $83,750 for the work to be done, with the alternate at $22,520 for the dehumidifier, for a total bid of $106,270. We're actually happy with the bid. We had budgeted in this capital budget, a part of that $1.5 million that we had budgeted for ESU. We had budgeted actually substantially more, and that was without the alternate of the dehumidifier. So we're actually very happy that this is going to come in probably somewhere in the range of about $20,000 to $25,000 under what we had projected for capital expenditure on this. So we're looking for a motion to get this, goals to have this work done fairly quickly so that we can have the system up and working. Once, it's hard to believe that it's cold today, that we're going to need to have cooler temperatures later, but for the summertime. So we're looking for a recommendation to award this HVAC bid that was from Houlihan Heating and Sheet Metal to City Council for approval tonight.
Make that motion, Mayor.
We have a motion from Alderman O'Brien. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Jones. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call.
Alderwoman Lewis,
Aye.
Alderman O'Brien,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Clerk Gall.
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 nay.
Okay, that'll be on the city council agenda for tonight for approval. We have no need for an executive session. It is now 6:37. Is there any comments for the good of the order? Oh, we got several. Alderman Marzak?
Oh, a while back, we were asked about some additional lighting per ward. I don't know where that project stands or if it went away.
Didn't go away, except for, it's all over the board, but I'll let Zach kind of get the latest update with ComEd, yeah.
Yeah, it's still kind of waiting to hear from ComEd. I don't know if they have been out to look yet, but they have received the information about the locations that the aldermen were concerned about. So I can follow up with ComEd.
So it's a wide range. Some locations they feel could be, I'm picking numbers here, but could be $10,000, and another location could be $80,000, just based on where power is and all. But it's in their hands. We need to get that back from them. So it hasn't gone away. We just need to get an update. Alderwoman Swanson.
Just for the snow route,
Yes.
is there like any way, I mean, I know we had, well, not, maybe a door hanger, but just like a reminder of what the snow ordinance actually is. Maybe be proactive and do it now. Maybe even have CDA for their walks, maybe concentrate right now on those snowmobiles,
Those would work.
snowplow routes. Have them go out on snowmobiles, they'll probably love that. But anyway, just maybe tie it in with that, so it's not somebody doing double duty, just as a reminder, because I think it should be enforced. And I'm sorry, but if we have to tow people, we have to tow them, but that's a big expense, so maybe just trying to tie something in like that, just a suggestion,
I
just.
like the door hanger idea, because we do put it on the social media, but the reality is that probably hits 10% of the people.
I agree.
Door hangers would probably hit 100% of the people, so we can talk to ECDA about putting that in the packet. My thought at this process was, we're almost into March. I mean, it is what it is this year. We'll deal with it, but that, come next September, after Labor Day, October, we really hit it hard that, hopefully the press will pick it up, a press release, putting it on Channel 4. I like the idea of maybe those snow routes, we put door hangers, have them made up, and just try to educate everybody as much as possible in September and October, knowing that come November or come December, it's something that we do need to enforce. And it's really, it's for cleaning the streets, but it's also really for the safety and the financial well-being of the city. I mean, it's
Well,
just,
police and
yeah.
fire, I mean, you have
Yeah.
to be able to get emergency equipment and everything through those areas, so it's very important.
good ideas. Alderman Marzak.
There is a misconception with a few people about the main snow routes. They don't understand. They still think it's 2 inches or greater, but the main snow routes it's correct. Any amount of snow, it is a main snow route, correct?
2 inches.
It's 2 inches?
2 inches or more is our ordinance. So if it's 1 inch, technically you don't have to get off the snow route.
Okay.
It's that our snow route is 2 inches or more. I think there's another municipality, I believe they're 3 inches, but ours is 2. So our snow ordinance is two things. Snow routes are anytime it snows more than 2 inches, any snow route, and they are clearly marked. If you look at my video, and I probably should share it sometime, there's 3 signs that right next to the cars that say you cannot park here when it's 2 inches or more. And then when there's 2 inches or more, you're supposed to alternate sides of the streets based on the day. And that allows them to go out the next day and clear curb to curb eventually. It just takes them a little longer period. But no, it's only 2 inches or more the way our ordinance is currently written. So when it's that fine line of, 2 inches, I don't know how you get there, but obviously last week was more than 2 inches. I mean, it was obviously a lot more snow last week, so to me, that's not a fine line. It was, you need to move your car. And I get it's difficult, but even like my son's home from school right now, we told him as we left for work, get your car off the street, get it into the back alley on the concrete or something. It's a pain in the butt. You don't want to move cars around at midnight, but it's what you got to do. But we will spend some long time to try to educate those snow route. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? It is 6:41.
So move.
We have a motion from Alderwoman Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Lewis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.